Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Hello if you're new, my name is Jess. Welcome to Smarter Beauty, where I do lots of cruelty-free beauty things here on my channel, so make sure to hit that subscribe button before we get into this video. Follow me on Instagram, all that good stuff. My links will be here on the screen and also below. Today I'm bringing you a review, swatches, and yes, not one, but two tutorials using the brand new e.l.f. Cosmetics bite-sized eyeshadow. So if you want to see my thoughts, swatches, a couple of tutorials, including this one right here, then definitely keep watching. Let's go ahead and get into this review. So a little information about these little palettes. These are from, of course, e.l.f. Cosmetics. They're cruelty-free and vegan. They retail for $3 and there's a total of 8 quads to choose from. The net weight is 3.5 grams of product, so not a lot, but you do get a total of 4 eyeshadows in each quad. The packaging is just really simple, plastic. There's not a whole lot of packaging holding these together, but they are very compact. They just sort of snap shut like that. Really quickly, I did want to mention I only have 6 out of the 8 quads to review and swatch for you guys today. I am so sorry I don't have all 8 of them with me, and the reason for that is because 2 of the quads in the shades Cream Sugar and Carnival Candy, those 2 quads, I looked at the ingredients and unfortunately they do contain Bismuth Oxychloride. That ingredient is a very bad irritant to my skin, and so I do avoid that at all costs. So if that is also an ingredient that you avoid, I would definitely steer clear of those 2 quads, but I really feel bad that I can't do all of them. That's a downside to having super sensitive skin. But I do have 6 quads to talk about today and swatch them. So speaking of swatches, let's go ahead and get into the swatches of these bite-sized eyeshadows from e.l.f. So I'm going to go from the lightest to the darkest. So let's start with the first quad, which is called Rose Water. This quad contains 1 completely matte shade, 2 kind of like foiled metallic shades, and the one that is the darkest is almost like a matte with lots of gold shimmer throughout. Not my favorite. I wish it was completely matte. Moving on to the next eyeshadow palette, we have Berry Bad. This one does contain 2 matte shades, 1 medium and 1 deep. And then in the middle we do have 2 very warm, rosy, golden, pinky toned colors. This quad is really pretty, very rosy, very pink. Next, moving on to, this one is one of my favorites. This is called Pumpkin Pie. And this one again has a nice medium tone shade and then kind of a slightly darker shade as well, with 2 kind of warm golden bronze type shades. This is a beautiful warm earthy palette. I have worn this quite a few times and I really like this one. Moving on to the next quad, we have Truffles. Now this one contains 2 matte shades in the middle, 1 really metallic silver, and then on the far end is a kind of matte black, but there is some shimmer throughout, which again, I wish it was completely matte black. Moving on, the next quad we have is called Hot Jalapeno. And this one, once again, we've got 2 very intense metallic shades. One is more golden, the other is more of this true like lime intense green, and then we have a nice matte transition color and then a really nice deep foresty green matte shade as well. And then last but not least, we have the Acai, haha, I got it right this time. And this one is a beautiful blue toned quad. You've got this matte periwinkle blue, which is very unique and different from e.l.f., which I love. The first one is more like not quite as intense. It's more of a satin finish, and then the other one is also kind of a satin finish, and then we have another kind of matte deep blue. So those were all of the quads swatched out. I hope that was helpful. So I did do 2 looks with these palette, with the Acai palette and the Hot Jalapeno, which I'm wearing in my eyes right now. So those 2 tutorials I will save towards the end of this video. I will put timestamps below in the description box for you guys if you want to skip ahead and see these 2 looks. So the formula of these quads, I would say it definitely, the mattes remind me of these larger palettes from e.l.f. I have the Opposites Attract and also the new Classics palette. You guys know how much I love e.l.f. Cosmetics. I love their eyeshadow palettes, especially these ones, where the mattes in here are definitely a little bit on the powdery side. There is quite a bit of kick up. They're more of a fluffy, powdery texture, so you have to be careful. All in all, I think the mattes are actually really nice in these quads. They blend really nicely once you build up the pigmentation. They blend out really nice. They're soft. You can really add depth with a deeper shade. And overall, I think the mattes are pretty decent. You just have to be careful because there is some kick up in the pan. So just be careful when you're pressing your brush into these shadows. They are a little bit more on the softer side. Let's talk about the metallics. Oh my god. When I was applying this green shade all over my lid, do you see that color? Oh my goodness. This is the Hot Jalapeno quad, and this is definitely my favorite out of all of them. I would say that the formula is not 100% consistent with all of the quads, but for the most part, I mean, for $3, you really can't go wrong. You're getting, you know, amazing color payoff and pigmentation. And you really, again, cruelty-free, vegan, $3. You know, they're very small and compact. You could just throw them in your bag. All right, let's talk about some cons and some things that I have to mention, unfortunately. So when I first ordered these and they came in the mail, the shade Pumpkin Pie came completely shattered. Like it was a tragedy. We actually had to dispose of her. It was that bad. It was unsalvageable. So e.l.f. did send me a replacement, so I'm very grateful to that because this is definitely one of my favorite quads as well. So a concern I have is, like I mentioned, the mattes in here seem to be very soft, very powdery, and I don't know if it has to do with the formulation of these shadows or the fact that they're in this very thin plastic packaging. But right now, Truffle, the dark black shade in here, is crumbling. It's falling apart. You probably saw in the up close like swatches. This one was perfectly fine. It wasn't cracked or anything when I first received it. So my concern is that some of these other ones are going to start cracking and crumbling and breaking. I hope that's not the case, but the fact that one of them came completely shattered and then this one is starting to loosen up and get very, very messy. I don't even want to touch it right now because I'm getting black eyeshadow all over my hands. These are definitely a softer formula. I would definitely say be cautious when you handle these. Don't drop them. Just be careful if you are going to toss this into your bag. You might want to maybe wrap it in a little piece of tissue or something. I don't know, but that is something I'm a little concerned about. Another thing I wanted to mention is that pretty much all of the quads I love except for this one, which I was really hopeful. There's only one completely matte shade and it's a very light, like taupey, mauve, dusty color. And while I do like these type of shades, I felt like I had to pack this on, pack this on, pack this on, and it just wasn't really doing anything. It is a nice transition color, but it is very light. It's kind of ashy. Also, the two metallics in here I feel like are just more of a satin finish. They're not as intense like, say, Hot Jalapeno that I have on my eyes today. Wow, one swipe, full on beautiful foiled deliciousness. And then the darker shade, I really hate all that chunky golden glitter, which I don't think gold really goes with the color story here in this palette. So the formula in here wasn't my favorite, and overall just the performance of this palette I was not happy with at all. The rest of these are stunning. I have to say my absolute favorites is the Hot Jalapeno. I really like the Pumpkin Pie. I've reached for this so many times, and if I can find some other like looks I did with these palettes, you guys, I will pop them up on the screen. Hopefully I'll remember to do that. And the other one I really like is the Berry Bad. This is a really nice kind of rosy romantic quad. It's really, really pretty. Now with the metallic shades, if you are going to pat them all over the eyelid, I do notice creasing after about 4 or 5 hours. There is some creasing going on, and I've encountered some issues with these shadows not wearing as long. I've tried them with my Milani primer, my Jordana primer. the eye putty primers, I do think that these perform better with something pigmented and more sticky and tacky than something clear. Because I did wear tests with both, and the Milani one, it just didn't work. Like, these need something to grip onto. So I definitely would suggest using something like the e.l.f. putty primers or some kind of eye base to help these shadows last. Maybe just it's something to do with my eyelids in particular, but I am just being honest with you guys. This is my experience. I'm only one person, and I'm not saying these are bad, but I have experienced quite a bit of creasing. So I'm curious to see if this hot jalapeno palette is going to crease and wear off towards the end of the evening before I take my makeup off. If I can remember to take a photo or something, I'll try to do so. But overall, I think these palettes are fun. They're $3 each. And if you are looking to maybe play with more color, I would definitely suggest these two here, the Acai and the Hot Jalapeno. These two are definitely my top favorites. Like, they're really, really good. That's just my thoughts, the pros, the cons, my thoughts on these palettes. So if you guys want to see how I did this look right here and also a look I did with the little blue quad here, then definitely keep watching. Let's get into the tutorials. All right, let's start with look number one. I went ahead and applied the e.l.f. Putty Primer in white, and we're going to start off with this blue quad. I'm taking the lightest matte shade and packing this into my crease, using it as my transition color. Now this quad, I will say you do have to build the pigmentation. The blues in here are definitely more on the softer side, so if you're looking for a very dramatic blue look, you probably won't get it with this one. And I'm just taking that same color and applying that to the lower lash line, connecting it up to the crease, and then reaching for this middle shade here, which this one isn't matte, but I did use it to sort of deepen up the crease and add a little bit more depth because that lighter blue shade is so light, and it actually worked out just fine. So I'm just applying that to the crease a little bit, and then now we're going to apply that same color once again to the bottom lash line, and making sure to blend very well. And then we're going to reach for the darkest shade in the palette, and this one is matte, and I'm going to darken out the outer V area and just keep it right there concentrated and kind of slightly just on the outer corner of the lid. Going back through with the first shade we laid down just to blend those two together. And then to darken things up a little bit more, I'm going right against the lashes on the bottom just to deepen up and smoke out the lower lash line. Taking this shimmery shade and applying this all over to the lid, just packing this all over. And then I'm taking a blue eyeliner. I don't have that many blue liners, so I'm just using this one. This is the one from the e.l.f. and J. Kissa collection, which unfortunately was limited edition. And I'm also applying this to an angled brush, smudging this along the lower lashes and on the bottom lashes as well, just to give kind of a smoky liner effect. And then to highlight the inner corner, because there really isn't a shade light enough for me at least, I'm taking this e.l.f. glitter in Disco Queen to highlight the inner corner. I did apply some lashes and mascara off camera, and that completes look number one. Very soft, very periwinkle blue. I really like this quad, and I actually really like how this look turned out. All right, let's move on to look number two. Once again, I applied the e.l.f. Putty Primer, this time in the shade Cream. And we're going to start off with the lightest green shade in this Hot Jalapeno palette. Once again, I'm just going to pack this all over into the crease and then start blending in circular motions, using this as my transition color. I'm also going to apply that same color to the lower lash line, connecting that all the way down, blending very well. And then we're going to darken up the look using the dark matte green shade. Once again, applying this to the outer V, kind of patting it on where I want the darkest pigmentation, and then slowly blending out the edges. Just adding a little bit at a time because they were definitely very pigmented. Going back through with that first shade we laid down just to bring that transition color back. And I'm just going to apply this black eyeliner from Milani into my waterline and to tightline as well. Now to kind of smoke out the lower lashes, I decided to add a little bit more of that dark, kind of like a forest green on a tight liner brush just to smoke out that lower lash line a little bit more, make it a little bit more dramatic. And then I'm going to apply this green shimmer shade all over the lid. I applied this dry and I was really impressed. You can definitely see a difference in this quad versus the blue one. Like instantly when I apply the shimmer shade to the lid, it's just so intense looking. I did apply a little bit of liquid liner. This one's from NYX. I forgot to hold it up to the camera for some reason. I just did a very soft wing for this look. And to highlight the inner corner, I did use the golden shade in this palette, which is, again, so amazing. And lashes and falsies off camera, and that completes this very green look. I'm obsessed with the green eyeshadow right now, and my obsession is not going away. So that is everything, you guys. My review, swatches, and a couple of looks using the bite-sized eyeshadows from e.l.f. Cosmetics. Have you guys tried these little quads? What are your thoughts? Let's talk about it in the comments below. Of course, if you are new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff. My links are always below. So that is everything, you guys. I hope you're having an awesome day. Thanks for hanging out with me. And I will see you all very soon in the next video. Remember, smarter beauty is better beauty. Bye, guys.